spell your first and last name for me, please?
Yes, my name is Rex, R-E-X, Hamilton, Hamilton.
So Rex, we just heard that you finished this at 9 a.m. What was your process? Did you paint through the night, or what was the deal there?
Yes, so I got here the night before. I think I finished around 6 in the morning, and I went home, got some sleep, and then came back, and I started painting around 3 o'clock and then worked till about 9 this morning. Yeah, I'm not sure how many hours it is, but usually at the end of every mural, it becomes like a marathon, and got it done though. Yeah.
What's the hardest part of the mural completion process?
Each mural is very different as far as, one of the number one factors could be the surface. The thing about this mural was it was on corrugated steel. So everything you did was kind of amplified. You know, if you're doing a curve, instead of just kind of painting the curve, you got to go around the corrugated steel and then make sure that it still translates into what you're trying to convey.
Rex, can you talk about just the tree heads, essentially, and kind of what was that inspiration for you to go with that decision?
So with the tree heads, I wanted to kind of speak to some other murals I had done. I had been using this flower head iconography where I've been replacing like a figurative person, or just a figure in general, replacing their head with a flower. And I knew that the tree was very prominent in the Austin FC, just like the message and like the idea of the roots and the growing up. And so I thought it'd be really awesome to instead of replacing their heads with flowers, but to replace it with, I guess, what could be another plant, which is the tree, them all being their individual branches or individual roots, but they all form together into one tree, kind of like forming this unity and this like sense of community, that we're all individuals, but we all come together to create this thing, and that's represented by the tree.
With the bodies themselves, did you like find a picture from like a game? You know, like we see one, he's pointing at the badge, and another player's kind of like climbing on his teammate. Did you see like a picture and decided to go with that, or was this kind of just like off the top and you just were like, I'm just gonna kind of go for it?
Yeah, no, definitely reference image. I had received maybe like 100 or so reference images in like a folder, and I got to go through and pick a lot of, I guess, just sort through a lot of images, and I really wanted to get poses that look very naturalistic, like them embracing each other, again, wanting to speak to the idea of like camaraderie and coming together. So it's actually like 3 different images, and then working them all together to look like one moment. And yeah, the cool thing was that they had this big data bank of photos, and I got to go through and find out what worked.
What thoughts, emotions, ideas do you want to go through their mind when they see this?
First and foremost, I want them to kind of be wowed by it. A lot of times when people would walk by, people would be like, "Did you do this?" And I always thought that was such an interesting question, because sometimes it'd be mid paintbrush stroke and they'd be like, "Did you do this?" And then my fiance was actually like, I think that they're really, you know, I don't want to put words in their mouth, but like impressed, or they're just like, hey, this is like a really awesome piece of artwork, and it's done on this surface, and I think they're just like excited to see it done. So the first thing I want people to see is that it looks very skillfully done. With the color, I wanted people to really like get a huge sense of vibrant color. I think if you like even look at it from your peripheral, it's kind of like singing out as far as the colors. And so if you can kind of marry that with this idea, like the symbology of people coming together, like the color and it being well done, then it hopefully creates this overall experience of like positivity or joyness, something that they can take with them into the stadium and then take with them as they leave the stadium.
What was your thoughts or just emotions when you were contacted, you know, by Austin FC to come and do this?
It was pretty awesome. I'd done something with them in the past, and they were really cool to work with, and then this one was a lot more involved. and it was a really awesome like platform too. It was just being it was awesome to have like the platform to be able to share on something that's so growing. I think the more I started to work on this, the more I would notice Austin FC shirts or stickers or everything throughout the city. And then it really dawned on me like, wow, this is really spreading and people in the city are really taking to this. And so to be a part of it, for my art to be a part of it is a really amazing thing. And now we feel like intertwined. And when I see the Austin FC, like if it's the logo or people wearing the jersey, I feel like that connection with them, like, hey, like maybe they'll go see the mural and we'll kind of have that connection.
I want to go back to the working through the night thing. That's incredible to me. Has
Yeah.
it always been a part of your process to work literally straight through the night from sundown to sunup?
Yeah, well, usually once you have a deadline, you really have to try to make it. We had an initial one, but we had the freeze and then we had a lot of rain, and I tried to work through at least like some of the drizzle, and then the paint would start to drip. So I was like, man, so I really had to like kind of search for these perfect days to paint, and it kind of made the days limited, and I still had a design that was very detailed. And so I was like, instead of being like, oh, I'm gonna make a design that I can do in 2 weeks, I was like, I'm just gonna do the design and then I'll figure out how to put that into 2 weeks. So I always go the opposite. When I did a mural for the Moody Center, I think I was up for 48 hours on the last day, because I don't want to compromise anything. It feels really disingenuous, or it doesn't really resonate with me to be okay, it's done or something, because every time I see it, it's really gonna stay with me. So I'll just spend all the last hours that I have just tightening it up and getting it to a point where I feel comfortable. I always feel like I could do more on them, but if you can get to like a stopping point where you feel comfortable, then that's it.
From a practical standpoint, how? Are you just drinking coffee all the time, or like how are you?
I know, that's why Tony, you were like, I bring an energy drink for you this morning. I was like, dude, I've had like 3. Drink yerba mate. I'll do like a sponsorship with yerba mate if you want to sponsor me. Either of them, Guayaki or Zambazon, I do both of them. And it's just like a mixture of trying to stay like hydrated. I mean, water is like the best way to keep yourself up. And if you pair that with like some caffeine, I guess that kind of works. It's worked for me so far. And podcasts.
What's your go-to podcast? What did you listen to?
This podcast happened to be, I listened to 2 audiobooks by Malcolm Gladwell, The Tipping Point and Outliers. And then I also listened to this Questlove podcast called Questlove Supreme. And I just like listen to them like interview like Jodeci or like Albie Shore and Alicia Keys. People like other creatives, it was really helpful to hear them talk about their journey. And when you're in those like wee hours, like hearing people's the hard work that they put in, you kind of resonate and you're like, okay, this helps you kind of get through it and maybe see like the light at the end of the tunnel. But since it's work that's really fulfilling, it's like, it's never about like, oh, how am I gonna do this? It's like, all right, gotta muster up the energy to do this. So that Questlove Supreme podcast got me through it.
How does it feel to just think like thousands of people on match day are gonna come and see this, and really take it in, whether they're just passing through or even if they stop and look and take pictures with it? How does that just feel to know that thousands of sets of eyeballs are gonna be looking at this on every match day?
Yeah, initially it was a big responsibility. Like that's how I kind of take it. For one, it's like representing my art, and I'm gonna sign it a little bit later. And it's so first and foremost, it's like representative of what I do. So if it's got that big a platform, then you always want to make sure that you rise to the occasion. And knowing that it's seen by that many people really makes you want to bring your A game. I guess that's like the first and foremost, is if it's going to be seen by a lot of people, make sure you do your best work and let it go from there.
Thanks, man.
Are you an Austin born and bred guy?
I am born and raised in Austin, yeah.
Where'd you go to high school?
I went to Aikens High School, which is off of South First and Slaughter area? South. Oh, you know? Oh, yeah, you know the Eagles? Okay, dope. I know it was like, they were pretty young, but then I think like, how old am I now? And I was like, dang, that's like a whole nother 12 years added on to it. So I was like, oh, they're almost into 20 years now, maybe. Something like that. Still relatively young, but they're getting old. Or I'm getting old. Yeah.